Do you like baiting your teammates and getting away with it? Just play Cypher. Do you like whiffing all of your bullets and then blaming your duelist? Just play Cypher. Would you like to shoot enemies while they can't even see you? Then watch this video as I'll be covering the best Cypher one-ways and setups for attack and defense on Ascent. This setup covers A main entry, so first of all stand in this corner, aim to the right of the green leaf and throw your first cage. Then place a tripwire entry. For the second one-way, stand here and line up your middle hotline with this pillar. Now it's time for your second tripwire. You can use either one of those low trips, a tripwire for A main, or this trip that catches people jumping up to Jenny. Now all there's left to do is play behind dice and wait for the enemies to deliver you some free kills.
Cage triggered.
All the broken cams on A side can be placed from top of Jenny, so make that jump first. This first camera gives you an overview over the entire site and doesn't even get shot out that often. You can also place a camera right above the A main entrance. For the most underrated camera, walk back a little and place it on this wall. You can see garden, tree, backside and heaven, and it pretty much never gets broken. For this very cringe wallbang setup on A, move into this corner and line up your middle hotline next to this dark line in the pillar and throw your first cage. Your tripwire goes across A main onto this pillar. This makes it very hard to break as you have to be fully exposed to actually break it. Use one of those two tripwires on door as your second trip. Now you set yourself up with a broken one-way for main and an extremely unexpected wallbang for someone who tries to close the door. Alright, so for the first double one-way setup on tree, you wanna line yourself up with that rock and walk against the wall. Then simply aim right under those pipes and throw your first cage. Your two tripwires should be placed like this and then make your way up to window. Simply crouch in the corner and aim for the black crack and throw your second cage. This setup allows you to first fight catwalk and then fall back into garden and contest tree from there with your second one-way. Moving on to B side, there are two amazing setups you can use from stairs. Line up your right hotline with where those bricks end and throw your first cage. Your camera goes right above the B main entrance. This is an amazing cam as you get audio cues from tiles, you see a little into B main, and it never gets broken out because of the awkward position it's in for attackers. Place your first tripwire like that to catch people going out of B main and your second like that for lane and lever. Optionally you can use your second cage like that to swing out and punish people walking to your tripwire, or you can simply go for a wall. This setup allows you to lock down lane and market from stairs. From this corner, toss a cage on top of the door and combine it with a low tripwire right there. For your camera, you can either use this one and mark it, which is really hidden, or you go for the old one on top of the B main entrance. Then make your way to lane and place your second tripwire around this spot. After, move all the way to the back of lane and line up your middle hotline with this line on the floor. Throw your second cage and you got yourself your second one-way. Now you can play from stairs and get a nice one-way effect for market and also lane, but you're also able to wallbang lane off of your tripwire.
Cage triggered.
This setup is very situational, as you'd only use it if you expect a hard B-take from the enemies with something like a Killjoy or KO hold. You start off with throwing cages on top of both boathouse entrances. This tripwire behind the green box allows you to clear this commonly played postplant angle if it isn't broken, or go for an unexpected wallbang kill. Your second trip goes right here next to triple. Jump onto lane and place your cam on the B main wall. This cam usually doesn't get broken and it also provides good vision onto site. Now you're set up with two amazing one-ways for an easy retake and good information about. Last but not least, I have this aggressive one-way for B main. Stand in the corner next to this boat and line up the gap between the cameras and the cages hut arrow with a dark line on the sign in B main. Make sure the wall's corner is roughly in the middle. When your teammates tell you to play mid on Cypher, tell them to respectfully f*** off as you're gonna be more useless than a shower in a jet player's house. But if you do end up playing mid, you should use this one way. All you gotta do is walk against the wall and aim to the right of the little cloud.
Cage triggered.
For cameras, you can place one onto this lamp or just anywhere on this wall to see into top mid and mid in general. As I already mentioned before, playing mid on Cypher isn't really an option and it should be more of an emergency plan, but let's move on to the attacking side. As the sentinel in your team, it's your job to cover flanks using your tripwires, so you better be putting one trip on top mid and one on B every single round. Also, make sure to not place them too low to not have little prod and Sinatra prodigies go B-hopping all over them with ease, but also don't place them too high because you really don't want the whole enemy team playing limbo with your tripwires. When attacking A, you usually want to insta-throw a cam into main to clear it, but after you can make your way up to here and place it like this to see into main, short and bottom mid. Okay, but let's get to the cringe part. After baiting your team onto side and closing door, you want to position yourself on this rock right under the door and throw a cage straight up against the glowing part above. This will leave you with a great one-way for 3 so many people don't know of and you can play it from anywhere around dice.
Cage triggered.
But we're not done yet. Stand right here under heaven and aim between those two tips of the clouds and throw a cage straight up. Now you have a broken one-way heaven that leaves the opponents with zero vision on you, while you will not struggle seeing them at all. When attacking B side, the first thing you wanna do is throw a cam in this window. It will provide vision on side, lane and market. Normally it will be broken in no time, but even a second is enough for you to get the info you need. After 6 of your teammates had to die, for you to get into logs, line up the bottom of the camera hotline with the yellow tile on the wall and throw a cage. Last but not least, I have a Postplant One Way for you I promise you have never seen before, as it took me hours to find in a custom myself. Stand in this corner of triple and put your middle hotline next to the dark line of the wall. After throwing this cage, you're left with a one way you can use from either backside or this green box, and I promise you will surprise your opponents with that one for sure. I hope those setups help you to get some more death threats in your Valorant games, and if you wanna know how to properly play with Cypher on other maps, hit the subscribe button, it's free and you can always change your mind.